People need to start taking Xbox serious again. What is up, y'all? I am Ray, and this is my channel, Xbox Ready, where we get on and we talk about Xbox stuff. The latest news, rumors, games, accessories, pretty much anything I want to talk about as long as it's about Xbox in some way. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how Xbox is giving you everything you need to enjoy all of the best games coming out in this generation. We'll move on to my thoughts about Doom: The Dark Ages, and another hidden gem on Game Pass that you may have overlooked. There's no need to sugarcoat it. Xbox has been making a ton of headlines lately, sometimes for the wrong reasons. And not just Xbox, there's a bunch of crazy stuff going on in the gaming industry as a whole. Mass layoffs, price increases, Xbox raising their prices, PlayStation raising their prices. With all the crazy stuff that's going on and everything that we've had to endure as fans of gaming over the past 5, even 10 years, I wouldn't blame you if you're sitting there like many other people thinking, dang, gaming nowadays sucks. It's not what it used to be back in the 360 generation, PS3, back even before then with the PS2, Xbox, Dreamcast. Gaming is not what it used to be, according to a lot of people. People even go a step further and claim that the games that we're playing overall are just way worse than what we used to get. People are starting to wise up to a lot of repetitive and bloated games, especially. In the midst of all of that, though, there are a suspicious amount of good games releasing lately, great games. We are in the middle of one of the best stretches of game releases that we've seen in a while, and Game Pass is giving us the key to enjoy it all. It's kind of weird, because as Xbox fans and just, fans of video games in general, we like to talk about the things that Xbox doesn't have. Oh, they don't have these exclusives like Nintendo or Sony. Oh, there's not a speaker in the controller like the DualSense. And by extension, that talk trickles down to Game Pass as well. Oh yeah, you get these day one releases of first-party games, some third-party games, but there are some games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that skip over Game Pass entirely. They're never gonna be able to get something like that. It's easy to focus on the things that the Xbox platform is missing. I've done it a lot on this channel, and I do think it's helpful to point out gaps in what they can offer consumers. But today, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what Xbox has. I started thinking about this last week when I shot a video with my buddy Alex. For the majority of his life, he has been a PlayStation owner, a PlayStation fan. And I asked him, hey man, what's something that Xbox has done over the past couple of years? What's something they can do going into the future that would make you consider buying an Xbox or being an Xbox fan? And the one thing he said, he was like, that Game Pass, that's looking pretty sick, man. Definitely better than what I'm seeing on the PlayStation side with Plus, Premium. And to be completely honest, I haven't really thought about what Game Pass, how appealing that would be for people who are not Xbox owners or PC owners, but it makes a lot of sense why it would be appealing. First of all, if you're on Ultimate, if you're a PC Game Pass subscriber, we are getting, again, a fantastic stretch of new game releases. And with the price of games going up, especially if you're on the PC Game Pass side of things, being a subscriber starts to make way more sense in a world where games are $80 and beyond. Game Pass as a value, even though, yeah, there's been some restructuring, some price increases, in the midst of physical games going up and all these price increases for physical products, the value of Game Pass has gone up dramatically. If you're someone who buys a lot of games in any given year, and Game Pass has solidified itself as the subscription service that you need to subscribe to if you want to play the latest and greatest games. In 2025, they've gone well and beyond just delivering you the standard Xbox first-party hits like Forza, Gears, and Halo. No, if you want to play the latest AAA games like Call of Duty, Expedition 33, the Oblivion remaster, then Game Pass is for you. And sure, I've had a lot of questions about Game Pass, especially its long-term viability, especially when stuff like this comes out. Oh yeah, Game Pass, or not a Game Pass, subscription gaming spending is stalling, it's reaching its limit. People were super critical about, oh, it cannibalizes sales, it devalues games. But lately, Game Pass has been showing that Xbox can really have it all, especially with those bigger releases like Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Expedition 33, the Oblivion remaster. Despite being added day one to Game Pass, despite people knowing that they can play it for as little as $1 if they just wanted to sign up for that intro month, they're still selling a ton of copies of those games. Black Ops 6 is still the best-selling game of 2024. And not only are they still getting those sales, they're still generating that cash. Game Pass is making Xbox the #1 place to play these games, which is crazy because we know that there are less than half the amount of Xbox consoles out there than there are PlayStation. And another crazy thing is that they still got more in the tank. Especially with Grand Theft Auto 6 being delayed out of 2025, this could well and truly be Xbox's year to clean up as the top publisher. We've had a string of really awesome day one additions to Game Pass over the past couple of months, and in just a couple of days, we're getting another banger, Doom: The Dark Ages. My friends at Bethesda were kind enough to hook me up with a review copy for this game, and while there's gonna be a lot of debate on where it stacks up compared to past Doom titles, this game is fun and it is a solid addition to the Game Pass library that further diversifies its total offerings. Over the past 8 months, we've got a couple of shooters, platformers, RPGs. I'm especially impressed with Doom: The Dark Ages because, I mean, it's so hard to make a sequel to something. Everyone loves a sequel, a continuation, a reboot. That's what all media is wrapped up in now. But it can't be too much of the same thing or else people aren't gonna like it. But it can't change too much about it because then you lose what people liked about it in the first place. If anyone knows that, it's Xbox as a company. They did this thing that everyone loved 10, 15 years ago, and now they're trying to chase that same high. And by extension, id Studios is dealing with that as well. All eyes are on id to see if they can push the series in a cool direction while living up to the hype of even 2016 and Doom Eternal. There's always a gimmick with these newer Doom games. And in this one, it is this mentality of stand and fight. The Doom Slayer is gonna be like this tank lumbering around and just obliterating demons in his wake. And oh yeah, he's got a shield with a chainsaw that can parry things. And I gotta say, I don't know whether or not people are gonna like it compared to 2016 or Eternal, but god damn it, you do feel like a tank. The vibrations of when the Slayer is running around, jumping off from a really tall cliff, landing on a pile of demons and seeing them just disintegrate around you because of the force of your landing. Parrying is clearly important, but honestly, it's not completely necessary. I imagine that we're gonna see a lot of no shield playthroughs when this game comes out, especially because the further customizations of the shield, the runes that you can equip, 2 out of the 4 of them I found kind of underwhelming. The gun variety is sick. At first, I was like, I'm having trouble just going through my weapon cycle and then switching out the different attachments for different guns. I found myself just kind of falling back with my shield and one gun in particular, like the shotgun or the shredder. But by chapter 6, I felt like a pro. I was cycling through different weapons depending on what I needed in any given moment, or just based on what I felt like. The Ravager and the Pulverizer are just, feels so good. That's the gun that you put a skull in and it crushes it up and fires shrapnel at people. Especially with the Pulverizer, at a certain point it boosts your movement speed, so you could just be flying around just throwing skull fragments at people. It's awesome. It's a little bit strange because the whole hype leading up to this was that it was Doom: The Dark Ages. There was going to be a medieval flair, but at the same, it really kind of wasn't too heavy on the medieval stuff. Besides, you got a mace sometimes, you got a flail, and you got the shield. There's still plasma weapons, there's still spaceships and interdimensional travel. And by extension, I felt like melee was gonna be a lot more important, and it kind of wasn't. Sure, you still rely on it for the finishing animations, and it can do great burst damage, especially to a single target, but a lot of the peripheral effects that I was using melee for, I could also use a gun for. For example, the flail is great against armor. Well, okay, so is the ball and chain gun that I have. The gauntlet, the punch, activates shock on an enemy, which increases the damage taken, but you can also use a cycler for that. I can kind of look at it either way, because if you didn't want to do a melee-centric build, you wanted to rely more on guns, you can totally do that. The Atlan and the dragon stuff, throw that in the trash, bro. This game does not need that. And you know what else? It didn't need a story. All of that signals to me that they were trying to make Doom more accessible. They were trying to give it a wider appeal. You can ride around on a dragon. You can get into this giant mech and throw hands with a giant demon. The Atlan and the dragon, it's not as nearly as fun as when you're the Doom Slayer. Because all you gotta do is just wait for the thing to turn green, then you dodge, press one button, spam one button, button to the thing dies. It's just not as fun. And the story, who cares? I mean, it's cool. I appreciate the effort of the cutscenes and stuff, but halfway through a map, I would be like, wait, why am I doing this again? It just wasn't very memorable. Until a certain person shows up. I can't say who, but until a certain entity shows up, I should say. Overall, Doom: The Dark Ages is a win in my book. I don't know how Doom purists are gonna react. Again, I don't know how it's gonna stack up in the overall pantheon of the history of Doom, but it passed my #1 test. It made me want to keep playing. And in fact, I found myself enjoying the exploration aspects of the different levels. In the old classic Dooms, there was a lot of ambushes, secret levels. They pack a lot of that into this too if you're willing to take the time and explore the different maps. One point, I was going around just trying to collect as many rubies as I can before I moved on. I found one, I opened up the door, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna grab it, easy peasy. I go to grab it, boom, I'm teleported to another part of the map and I gotta fight my way out. And if you're gonna jump in, I'd highly recommend cranking up the difficulty as much as you possibly can. A lot of people were saying, oh, this looks slow, this looks like easy peasy compared to other Doom games. If you're feeling like this is easy, like it's a walk in the park, you are not playing it right, man. You should be feeling overwhelmed. You should be cycling through guns like a crazy person. You should feel like you are on death's door at all times if you make the wrong move. That's when I enjoyed this game the most, when my nerves were absolutely frayed, I was fighting for my life, and when I perfectly timed to parry and finally beat down one of the leaders or a boss with 5 health left, it felt so damn good. It'll be interesting to see how people respond, but overall I think it is a really great game. I had fun with it, and it once again shows that if you want to play the latest AAA games, you gotta get Game Pass. Game Pass is an awesome deal, but we've also seen that Game Pass is not just about those AAA gaming experiences. And here to help me talk about an underrated gem lurking in the Game Pass library, it's my buddy Alex again. Hey, it's Alex again. I brought him back on. The last time I had you on, we were talking about Gears of War Reloaded, this broader conversation of like, you as a PlayStation fan, what would make you jump over to the Xbox side? And part of that conversation was Game Pass. Like one of the things that made you stop and look at Xbox and be like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, Xbox. I'm kind of into that. And let me tell you, like, we are in the middle of a legendary run in terms of games being added to Game Pass. But lurking in that library that just got added to was a little game called Towerorn, made by Stoic, the same people who worked on the Banner Saga. And I sat down, I was like, buddy, we gotta play this game because first of all, it's co-op. How often do you see that nowadays? And I'm not talking co-op and like we can both jump online and play at the same time. No, I'm talking on the same TV, on the same couch, on the same console. I was like, buddy, we gotta play this. And so I wanted to get your opinions on it, like just as this game that you came in totally blind into. And we'll discuss like some things we like and don't like about it and pass judgment on whether it is worth your time in this era of bangers being added to the Game Pass library.
Yeah, okay. I mean, coming right into it, I mean, you were the one who'd gotten to play a little bit of it. You'd invited me to come give it a chance. You'd let me know it was couch co-op, which like, boy, that's like finding a diamond in the rough lately, finding good couch co-op. Thing of a bygone era. And so getting to like sit down, you know, I did have to sign in through, I think, an Xbox account that you, like a secondary Xbox account, but it was pretty quick, got me right in. And immediately I'm dropped into this character creation screen, and I thought there'd be like a couple presets that I'd choose from, maybe change the hairstyle, whatever. I wasn't expecting this in-depth, really detailed, really nuanced character creator.
Bro, they went a lot harder than I thought for the character creation, because it's like kind of cartoony, you know, like borderline memes from the Nintendo Wii era, you know what I mean?
The art direction is, it's got like a fairy tale aesthetic to it, and it's cartoon elements. So I dug that style, and I was just totally not expecting. I thought, you know, I'm gonna drop in. He told me it was a side scroller beat 'em up. We're gonna drop in. We're gonna just start swinging swords at some bad guys, and I was not expecting the next 35 minutes to be me obsessively creating a character like I do in every other single player RPG. So I was pretty impressed by that level
bro, what do you
of
think about these
customization.
eyebrows? I'm like,
Yeah, I gotta have the scar on this side, I don't know. So, we finally get in, we get to play the game, and immediately I'm feeling some of the familiar live service elements. Go talk to this character to get this ability, go talk to this character to get this ability.
Yeah, it's weird because I think the core of this game, the bones of this game, they're good, right?
Yeah.
The fighting is good. I liked the combos. I liked the synergy that we had. Like, oh, bro, I'm gonna hit like this aerial combo, send this hobgoblin flying in the air. You go with like the LeBron James freaking slam dunk right over me. We have that moment, right?
That's right.
So I think that was all really cool, and the loop is something that we like, right?
Yeah,
like going
absolutely.
out fighting, going back to like the central location of, oh, now we got to check our gear, now we got to break stuff down, now we got to upgrade, now we got to equip and like swap out our skills and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was painfully aware. I'm like, if the point is to like get me out fighting and get me back to this loop, why do I have to walk all the way to the other side of the belfry to talk to Wolfram or like talk to Rix or talk to what's her name, Paloma? I'm like, we can maybe cut some of that down, even if it wasn't a place where you can physically walk around, just like menus, like something more streamlined than that. I don't know, and I was painfully aware of like the more live service type aspects.
But like you said, the core loop is a familiar, it's a tried and true loop, it's a fun loop, because the minute-to-minute gameplay of getting out there, getting into the side scroller element, that action, that beat 'em up, juggling the goblins and passing them off, and hitting them with special attacks, combos, really like giving them the business. Absolutely, that's a whole lot of fun. Collecting all the loot, that's awesome. You feel cool, you feel like powerful. You get back to home base, and it's fine. It's time to do that other side of that loop, that crunch, where you're like doing the math. Is this gear better than this other gear? What do I have to do? X, Y, and Z. And it's that tried and true loop of like, all right, get back out there. All right, sort it out so you can get back out there. Keep getting stronger. Keep getting stronger. And it's a fun loop. My one gripe with the part where you are sorting through your gear was that we couldn't seem to bring both of the menus up at the same time for couch co-op. It wasn't like a split screen menu. It's, you're sorting through your gear, I'm on my phone, now I'm sorting through my gear,
it takes up
you're
the whole
on
screen.
your phone.
Yeah, gotta find a way to run that simultaneously, or maybe that is possible and we just couldn't figure it out. Because that's something that you can do in other games, like Borderlands. If you play it split screen, you can have both of your menus running at the same time. Lots of different elements creating this Frankenstein where I'm like, I do like finding new loot and gear and like upgrading my skills and my gear, and I like the fact that I'm not locked into a build. Like I can refund my points at any time. I could change a class at any time. That's pretty cool. One weapon, like the sword and shield, is leveled up way high and the other ones are pretty low. I can switch off and do the combat encounters at a lower difficulty. I like all of that. I think the greatest struggle for this game is, well, number one, it's not a full game yet. It's a game preview. So when they release the for real version, all your progress is going to be wiped. So there's not like a ton of incentive to jump in right now. And it's a busy release schedule, like we were just talking about. Like, is this going to pull people away from Oblivion Remaster or Expedition 33? Is it even like the same sort of game? Not really, but like similar loop, Monster Hunter. I think the couch co-op is a good enough argument because this game is pretty fun when you're alone, but when you got friends and you're running with, especially in that same room, and you got that energy, for me, this game goes from like a 6 to an 8 at least. Like that's the difference that multiplayer makes.
I mean, I can easily see how running this experience solo is probably a lot of fun. That loop stays fresh. You and I played it for a pretty decent amount of time, but I wasn't playing it solo or anywhere near long enough to maybe hit that point of like, all right, has this loop become slightly repetitive? Has it become a little monotonous? And playing by yourself, I could see where that easily could be the case. When that minute-to-minute gameplay falls under a category of becoming too stale? Or is the upgrade tree allowing it to stay fresh enough? Are you staying one step ahead of, you know, that feeling of when you finally reach that critical max where you're like, I've been playing this game for a while. I think I've done just about everything I want to do. Maybe you changed your weapon a few times. That's one of the beautiful things about Monster Hunter. You change your weapon, you're playing a whole new game because the timing windows are all different, etc. So here there's archetypes in Towerborn. You can change to those different archetypes, sword and shield to spear to two-handed weapons, all these different things. And you can see where that could stay fresh for a while, especially like you said with those forgiving options to respec, restat, try something new. It's forgiving. And yet, you can't help but get this feeling like as much as you want to sink time into it, there's always that fear for a game that's chasing that infinite Mobius strip loop of never stop playing because it's always giving you that positive feedback that eventually
you'll have nothing left to give.
You'll have nothing left to give,
nothing, bro. So would you recommend this game or not? Play it or skip it?
Play it or skip it? I'd say play it. I'd say it is fun enough. There's enough there that is enjoyable enough there that I didn't get to try. Like, I feel like I only really scratched the surface type of thing I'd love to sink my teeth into. I am always searching. I'm always hunting for that perfect feedback loop in a game that's constantly scratching that part of my lizard brain, you know, and I felt like this had the potential to do exactly that.
Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.